Thank you so much. We all know that transition, when you talk about transition, it always comes with a level and a degree of uncertainty. We in ILO, we want to believe that talking about transition to green economy, we should not fear. There should not be a fear. As a matter of fact, we estimated that half of the workforce, which is about 1.5 billion, will be affected one way or another. But we do also believe that if there is a fear that some jobs will be lost, and we know some jobs will be lost, some jobs also will have to be substituted. For example, we talked this morning about the incineration sector, which can be substituted towards the recycling sectors. As you just mentioned, our research demonstrated that if the right policy are in place, we do believe that in the next 15 years, between now and 2030, roughly we can go up to 60 million jobs in the green economy. And as a matter of fact, it has already started. We estimated that in 2014, about 7.7 million jobs were created just in the renewable sector, let alone the hydropower side of it. So what are we talking about here? It is true that on one hand, we do have the certainty that job will be lost, while on the other hand, a great opportunity for job creation, especially in greener economy. We have to ask ourselves, what if we do not act? We all know, and it has been said all over today again, if we do not act, climate change will just continue, posing a big challenge to our economy, to our society. It will continue destroying jobs. It will continue disrupting businesses. But if we are smart enough, if we are bold enough, we do think that this can be transformed into great opportunity. This is how I really like what the Minister of Morocco was saying, that this can be, it's not a change, but it's a chance. So transforming that in a better opportunity with people should be our overall game. People like, if I can give you one small example, Roberto Lago is a fisherman from the Philippines. In November 2013, you may wish to remember when we have the Haiyan typhoon. Roberto was holding his nine-year-old son in his hand when the typhoon struck the Philippines. 14.2 million were affected, out of which 6 million workers. What did we do? I do recall the International Labour Organization working with the businesses, working with the local communities, the trade union, the government, the opinion makers, trying to quickly assist them to put emergency response, emergency jobs, creating a sense of livelihood during the crisis side. But most importantly, after the humanitarian dimension, we continue working with all those stakeholders in building back better and stronger and greener. For example, just by training them, training the workers in using lime earth instead of the sand that they used to draw out of their beautiful beaches, and therefore destroying the ecosystem. So the point I want to make with this is the fact that if we put the right policy, it's going to be important for us to fight not only against the climate change, but also strengthening the resilience, the community resilience, and creating green jobs. You heard me talking about the training. So the skill development is going to be essential. This morning, I believe Minister Laurent Fabius was talking about education, education dimension of it. So the skill training, the skill development is going to be essential, just like what we're doing now in training workers in the construction sector in Zambia, in training the Maasai community in Kenya in how to use local material in their construction and put into place the biogas system for the energy consumption. In Bangladesh, for example, the government has put more than 3 million solar equipment, home solar equipment in the rural area with the help of the World Bank. But what ILO is now doing is to train the women how to assemble, how to install, and how to maintain those home solar equipment. So the skill development is going to be quite important. However, creating green jobs, developing the skill, while they are essential, they are not sufficient. We have to be very, very clear. The issue at hand is as much as social as it is environmental. So the social dimension, namely the social dialogue, is going to be important if we want to be successful, which means that we really need to make sure that we bring all the stakeholders together so each of us can have a sense of ownership in this collective fight. But the social dimension can also work if all our action is inclusive and just. What I'm referring to here, ladies and gentlemen, is the essential part of the social injustice. If the bottom billion continue to struggle to secure 1 meal a day, if the inequalities in the world keep growing, if the gap between the have on one hand and the have not on the other hand keep increasing, that can only be detrimental to our common cause. This is why ILO, we are very ready. We just put on our website some guidelines for a just transition and ready to bring our expertise where we do believe we can bring together, on one hand, the fight against climate change, sustainable development, fight against social inclusion, fight against social inequalities, and creating green jobs. So I want to invite you to check that on ilo.org. So in just to conclude, what we do believe is going to be essential is making sure that we put behind us all those unsustainable side of our daily habits and really press ahead in every action, making sure that not only we ask ourselves how to make the world greener, but also how can our action, how can our initiative create 1 or 2 jobs, obviously green jobs. By doing that, we can make sure that it's very, very clear for us that the social front needs a greener environment. The social front needs a sustainable environment. On the flip side, the sustainable environment can give better results if it's intertwined with the social justice agenda. Both of them will certainly help us to build a better world for a lasting peace for all. Thank you.
What a